Hi guys, Tugger here with a new video, and this video will be talking about Balance Druid. And Balance Druid, I'm currently on Warming right now, is a PvP spec or spec that I usually don't talk about in my videos except in tier lists because it is not for everyone, and it is a spec that obviously requires more effort than different meta specs because you are costing a lot. You are definitely requiring a lot of oh my god, look at the amount of horde around me. Not gonna do too much here. It requires a lot of costing. It requires about game knowledge as well. Requires you to do some fake casting. Requires you to know look, you need to cyclone a lot if you want to be surviving. There are a few Balance Druid specs that you can play. You can play a Balance Druid spec that is with a Feral Charge, which is my preferred Balance Druid. If you go deep Balance Druid, you should be playing around that. You should not go into Restoration because it has nothing for you here. You have also Restokin or Dream State. Personally, if I go for that route, I would not go for Moonkin form because why would I bother? Because I usually will not go Moonkin. Now I'm not gonna lie. If you go for Moonkin 4 or Restokin or whatever you wanna call it, you have also Dream State, which has no Moonkin form. It is because of the amount of armor you get as well by going Moonkin, which is more effective than Bear form. Obviously, Bear form gives you stamina, so it is not completely useless, but you don't really deal damage as Bear form. While if you are Moonkin form, and even if you spam Moonfire, you are deadlier and also surviving as much as a Bear form Bounce Rate. You're going to survive a bit more if you're Feral because you have the talents that can help you with that, but as Balance Druid, that's not gonna help. And if you're a Restoration Druid, you are going to never go that deep on Feral to be able to utilize Bear form as much as you can. That just is not happening. So obviously, the good thing about your Balance Druid going Restokin, which is a form of Resto Druid, is that you can still heal for amounts that are very good. You are able to survive if you go for the Moonkin form route. My preferred way of playing that Restokin build is with Dream State. So instead of going into Moonkin form, I put my 3 points here. Will not put more points though into Dream State. And Dream State will help me to regen that mana, plus we have Intensity, which is giving me 30% mana regen to continue while casting. And also giving a rage ability to give more rage, so you could be able to do a bash, for example. But you also have Fervor for that, but whatever. That will help you with the mana regen, plus also the Dream State, which gives you also 10% of your intellect, so that's going to be also a big amount of mana while casting, which is going to help you. And obviously that will help you also dealing more damage because you will be able to spend more rafts, and you are going to spec into more rafts and Starfire. Starfire will not be used. And you have a choice between the gear that you want to use. You can use either the gear from Restoration Druids, which gives you, I don't know if I have it here, I don't think I have it here, but you have a set of Resto Druids that are going to lower the regrowth casting time, and regrowth is going to be a ability that you're going to use often when healing instead of healing touch, because it's faster, more effective in general. I'm gonna try to do a Starfire here. Boop! Dead. I don't think you can see the damage I did, but whatever. I don't have my drinks here, so it's going to be miserable. You do get very quickly as a Balance Druid, every time you're going to morph into Moonkin, Already costs 500 mana, which sucks. But like the restokin is going to be the most preferred part of playing Balance Druid in my eyes, because you still are a healer, but you are able to deal, I would say, 70% of the damage from a Balance Druid, basically. You can see it as like the decrease of retail. You're not healing through damage, but you're able to deal damage while you're healing with your hots. And you're playing around your rejuice, playing around a full stack life bloom that you're trying to not drop. And if you do drop it, it's okay, because it does give you a big amount of heal at the end. But we prefer to have like the life bloom always rolling, because it just is more healing. And you don't need to morph into Moonkin, which that's the only part that I don't like about Balance Druid, is the morphing into Moonkin every single time you want to get like the crits, you want to get like the more damage as well. Like something about that is not feeling very well. So obviously that's something I don't like to do. And your damage is quite similar, although you have less chance on critting. That's a big part. Now, Balance Druid, on the other hand, is fun in BGs, is okay in arenas. I don't think it's like great, but you can make it work in different comps. In threes, you can play with a lock, you can play even with a mage, you can play with a shadow priest even, you can play with a rogue, which is probably one of the most popular comps, with a healer obviously. It's like definitely like trying to take the place of a mage, because you have Cyclone, which is a great CC, and you cannot like push it back, so you have to interrupt or silence, and you cannot dispel a Cyclone from a friend. I think Master Spell does go through, if I'm not mistaken. Like you can remove Cyclone from with a Master Spell, or it might not be, because that's something from retail. I don't know if it's really on TBC. I want to say that it doesn't work, because I don't remember someone using it versus me. Oh, can I heal myself here? Alright. Live blooming myself. Like, I really like the fact that I'm like a hybrid, so I can actually do that, right? A full heal, just basically with like... Voila. This is good damage here. I have a Starfire here, maybe... The pushback is still existing, unfortunately. Try to get a bit of mana. Okay, he's dead. And Balance Druid, I think most people don't like it because it actually requires a lot of mana. Like your mana is just depleting every single time. Like it just doesn't play as much as like in Kata or like in Mob, where you do get mana back when you're like in Eclipse. You do get an Eclipse, then you get mana back. That's not something that exists here. So obviously, it's something you begin to accept, that your mana is really shit, and like multi-dotting is not really effective because your dots are like, again, not critting, and it gets dispelled insanely easy because of like having no dispel protection. Now there is a way where you can play Balance Druid with a UA lock, but you're both like really highly trainable targets, which really is not fun. Like for like the healer is going to have like high stress moments every single time. That Raph critted for 2.4k, which is insane. Starfire here, can we get the Starfire off? Okay, he's going to survive because he has a lot of health. But like he might die because of dots. Maybe not. Never mind. I think my problem is that I cannot heal as a Balance Druid without like morphing out of Moonkin form. So my preferred play would be like how it is in Classic, which is like Moonglow build, or like 30-0-0-21, where you don't play around Moonkin. But it doesn't mean like that it's bad. I think it will depend on the beholder. Like for me, Moonkin is really fun, when you are like taking away the aspect of like your mana regen being shit, the ability to not morph as much as you want because your mana is really precious. If you don't have mana, you end up like being with me, like me, trying to hit to get mana back, because you do get that. For example, here you have melee attacks in this form have a chance on hits to originate mana based on attack power. Yeah, if you don't have attack power, this is going to be quite miserable. But it does help. It does help a bit if you do hit. I think it's better to have a dagger then. If you get the dagger with spell power and you're able to hit a bit, why not? But it's still like not really that great. But what I like about Balance Druid is that you do get like all the goodies behind PvP. With the restokin build, you do not get feral charge and also long stun. Those two are like really big in PvP. You can actually feral charge, interrupt someone, bash, and then into a cyclone, and that could help landing a kill, because if you play with a rogue, the CC chain on the first target plus you being able to do a feral charge into stun, into cyclone, if it doesn't get resisted. That's something like, again, that still can happen because it is TBC. TBC is resistant. You always have like a resist towards your stuns. It just is what it is. But if you do land that amount of CC onto someone, you usually do get a kill, especially with your dots rolling on the target, plus the rogue hitting, maybe you landing a Wrath here and there, depending on the situation. That can help with how you play, but you could do the same as a restokin, but you do not have like that long stun, you don't have feral charge, so that sucks. But feral charge really helps with traversing, and really helps with like being able to be mobile, to be useful as well while you're being mobile. So that's also a fun aspect. I wish I could show you a bit more gameplay. Unfortunately, with AV, like, it is PvE land pretty much. Like, it doesn't change war main or not. It just is what it is. But like, it's okay, I guess. If you do. Oh man, I'm dead. Got charged while the Drek is there, and whoa, we do respawn at the north, which really sucks. But yeah, this is like the video showing you off Balance Druid, but I do talk about restokin a bit, because that's like the preferred build. Like, I wanted to show off why it is hard to play Moonkin while the mana sucks. Yes, I do not take Dream State, so it doesn't really help too much, but the issue with like going Dream State is that it's only adding me 42 mana, because it only adds 10% of my intellect, but mana per 5 while in combat, so it's not fantastic either. Obviously, it's like ×2 what we have right now, but still, it's something you need to realize. Like, some talents are like kind of bait, which is this one. This is good because it reduces the chance you'll be hit by spells. So if someone tries to do a cyclone on you, if he doesn't have like hit cap and above hit cap, he's not going to be able to land that. So that can help. I think one of the things that really makes it difficult for like Balance Druid to exist, like for example in PvE, like for example in Heroics, is that you do not have any, but like not any AoE except Hurricane, and Hurricane is still a 1 minute CD, which does barely damage compared to like other stuff. And sometimes you don't need to morph into Moonkin. Like, you're not losing that much damage, you lose potential damage. That's the only thing that you're really losing. You don't lose like, you don't have like a spell power buff while in Moonkin form. You only get like a 5% critical chance. That's the only thing that you're losing. It's not the best, obviously. 5% crit is nice, but you're able to deal the same kind of damage. If you do get crit on like with a Wrath while you're not in Moonkin, it would be the same damage as if you are not in Moonkin form. Same damage as you are with Moonkin form, so it just depends on your luck and RNG. Sometimes it's just not worth it to go into Moonkin form. The thing is, like, in a 1v1, especially for a rogue, the Moonkin form will help you with surviving damage, because you have more armor, and armor is really important still in TBC. Like it does 60%, basically 60% physical damage reduction. And you could go even further beyond by taking like off pieces that add like armor, or a trinket that does add armor and whatnot, and that would help even more with the amount of survivability that you could get. You could also say, look, I'm going to go even like further by going thick hide, and then you get like insane amount of like survivability versus rogues. I think the only thing that really sucks is like, again, you need to spend talent points for that, and obviously Cloak of Shadows is still very strong, so that doesn't change the fact of like fighting a rogue is going to be very annoying. You don't have any like self peels, you don't have Typhoon like in Wrath. You don't have like Starfall while you're doing damage while moving, for example. You don't have that, so that's something you do realize. Obviously, like Moonfire spamming helps, but it is like not like enough like long term. Like if you want to do like insane amount of damage, you still need to do Wraths. You need to do your Starfires. But doing like your Moonfire, especially if you have like the idol, it gives you a resilience, and resilience is like always going to be quite nice to have. Right now I have like 365, which is giving me 18% reduced damage of critical strike, and also 9% chance of not getting credit, so that helps as well. So I'm gonna spam Moonfire here. I think that's probably the best situation to use Moonfire spam, because they're on the move. I'm gonna do Rafts here. Whoa! I got blasted. I wonder how I died actually. Can't see, I think. Details doesn't work here, but we might win. Finally. We do win something as Alliance. Well, we could still lose, but whatever. And like, I think, you see, like I have been in this PG for a very long time. 4th of Alliance with just doing damage onto people, and obviously we have Killing Blows, which is also going to be quite high for what we are doing. It is very fun. Now, is it like going to be a spec where you're going to say, oh, let's move away from Feral and go Balance Druid? That's a tough decision to make. I think Feral Druid is really consistent in PvP. Consistently good or bad, that depends on like with who you're talking to. I think Feral Druid is way easier to... No, it's not easy. Let's not pretend Feral Druid is easy, but it is more... I would say stronger in PvP than Balance Druid, because you don't have like that mana problem that you would have. The off heals from Feral Druids are also not that bad, because you can have like a offset like healing power. You can then heal yourself, and the dots are ticking, and while it ticks, you then change your weapon, and boom, you have now a lot of feral attack power. So that's something that could be said about feral druids. I want to show you the build, basically the restokin build. So go Shadowwrath Maul. I'm going to show you the restokin build. So basically, should I... I'm going to do that right here. So I'm going to unlearn. So basically, the restokin build, we are playing around Wrath for sure. So you need to go for Starlight Wrath for sure. Nature's Grasp, you go for Improved Moonfire, Focus Starlight, Insect Swarm, Control of Nature, Nature's Reach. You could go for Vengeance or not. Like, again, I do count on critting, so I do go for that. Nature's Grace here. Here you have a choice. Obviously, Lunar Guidance is like Abyss. Do you want to have 10% more damage on your Wrath, Moonfire, Starfire? You don't even get 10% more damage on Insect Swarm, so Insect Swarm doesn't really do that much damage. Here you begin to have choices to make it. And the annoying part is, like, any choice that you're making is a good choice. You could say, look, I'm only going to do Wraths anyways if someone is like not training me, and that's like a respectable thing. So you could say, look, I'm going to put like my points into Moon Fury, or I'm going to put more points in Balance of Power. You have choices here. What I would do and recommend is, first and foremost, see for the points of Restoration, and see for yourself, like, look, this is going to be the build I want to play. I think it's tough. You're most likely are going to have to make a choice between all these talents. So in my opinion, I would go for Moonglow, because again, since you're playing a restokin build, you would have like mana cost reduction on your regrowth, on your rejuvenation. Unfortunately, not on your life bloom, but you also get like a mana reduction on your wrath. So it becomes a bit more worth to press those abilities without like losing too much. Go into Moon Fury, and then you can go into Dream State. I prefer to not go Moonkin form. I think if someone trains me anyways, I'm gonna heal myself, so I will not be Moonkin form, and I will go Bear form, for example, to get like the Frenzied Regeneration like ticking, or like I'll try to survive as much as I can while we are inside of like Boomkin form, Bear form. If they do tend to go for me, then we'll go for Restoration, and here you have more choices between Improved Mark of the Wild or Firm. Like again, since you are not going to need Furor, because you will go for Intensity, and you will be able to do Enrage into like stun. That's able to do so. You're not going to Feral Charge, so you don't need the Fur for the Feral Charge into then your stun, by because you did like an auto attack, you would get the rage for the stun. So you would go for Improved Mark of the Wild to get like an even bigger buff. Here you have a choice between Useless Focus and Naturalist. Do you want to do healing touches or not? Do you want to do free healing on yourself or your friends? That's something you can decide for yourself. You can also say Natural Shapeshifter, so you do get a lot of shapeshifting like freedom. That's like again a choice that you can make. Personally, I prefer Nature's Focus, so I am able to do a regrow for myself without like losing a huge amount of cast time. I go Intensity, and here you have another choice, like again, Subtlety can help you to not get your spells be dispelled. That can help, and like that's any spell, so your Moonfire, your Insect Swarm, or you can also say your Live Blooms, for example. So that's very, very helpful. So I do prefer that. You can also go for Omen of Clarity, but the issue is, yeah, you're not going to melee. So it's going to be something that is going to be worth it if you are like going to cat form and trying to hit. That's not going to happen every single time. So I'll go for Subtlety for at least 2 points, and then I go for Improved Rejuvenation. And here I'm not going to take Tranquil Spirit because I'm not going to Healing Touch. So I go back to Subtlety, 4 points, and then I go for Nature Swiftness. I have 7 points left here. You can choose between like improving your Gift of Nature healing, or you go into Impart. Do you want to go into Impart Touch? Do you want to go into Improve Regrowth? That's things you can see for yourself. Personally, I would go for 4 points into Gift of Nature, and then I have 3 points where you can choose, look, I want to go into Balance even more, or I want to go into Regrowth, which I like to play around to. So I have 30% Regrowth crit chance, which will help me with a lot of the easiness inside of PvP, because if you're like getting a regrowth off, and it does crit, so let's get it crit off. If you get a crit, so we get a crit, you get Nature's Grace, which helps you with your next regrowth, or you do a Wrath, or you do a Starfire, or you do even a Cyclone, which is going to be a even more sped up Cyclone. And that is going to be the gameplay around like your Restokin build, which is not Restokin but Dream State, because you're going to play around your you're going to play around your regrowths, you're going to play around your Moonfires, so you will crit, and with that crit you can then play your Nature's Grace to be able to CC better, or do more damage, or doing Entangling Roots better, or heal yourself better with regrowths. And since I have now Dream State and I have Intensity, I get a huge amount of mana back. And this is like a balanced with spec talent, gear setup. So obviously I don't have that much spirit, nor I don't have that much mana regen. But I will regen 144 mana every 5 seconds, which is a big amount. And I can go even beyond that if I get like the right trinkets, the right gear. It's very easy to see, because if you go for the right trinkets, you will have a decent amount of mana back pretty easily. Now, I don't think I have the trinket here that's going to be quite good. Like, for example, Fell Reaver is going to help you with the mana back. You could do also like a more offensive trinket set. Obviously, if you get like the best PvP gear, it will help, or it will also help you with like the mana regen on every single piece. And that will then like help you with surviving with the mana regen with like longer games where you're going to maybe struggle with mana, and here you will like less have a problem with mana, especially since your spells are going to cost less and they're going to be more efficient, and you're going to be able to regen that mana bit by bit, which is a very good amount of like possibility to survive and to win the game. And you have also like some decent trinkets later seasons, for example, improved spell haste, which is super good. And you can play around that, or you can also play around like PvE gear, which most likely is possible to do. Like in high-end gear, if I don't think you can like buy gear like PvE gear like that. I think you need to most likely open like chests, have luck. But you have like a good amount of like trinkets, off pieces, like even like the PvE sets to help you with like playing long-term games. Normally you're going to be not the target, you're going to be the target of like warriors, for example, but if you can really kite well, it's not going to be a problem. And you're going to be able to heal and do deal damage depending on your mates. And this is a quite offensive like setup. Like I run with like 805 spell power, but if I go for healing power, it's even more, because healing power just gives more overall than spell power. You could do that as well, and have like a reduced cost time of regrowth, which is going to be a lot easier to spam, because it's going to be a 1.8 seconds cast time, plus every single time you're going to get a Nature's Grace proc that's going to help you as well with the amount of heal that you're going to do. Obviously, it's not going to be a very like spammable ability. That's going to be very difficult. But if you get like a regrowth plus a rejuve plus a life bloom, for example, three stacks of life bloom, that's going to be a lot of healing overall while you are in arenas or like in BGs. I think what I like about this spec is that you're really able to do anything, and you're a true hybrid, and you can like do open world stuff and not be ridiculed. You don't need to go Moonkin form, so you're not going to lose any mana, and you're able to heal yourself while dealing damage as well. Anyways, this is going to be the end of the video. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.